2, 3, 4, 5. First up, we had tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus the big homie in the Cincinnati Bengals. As you can see by the score, 10-7. This was a defensive slugfest. Tight work managed to only allow the big homie 94 total offense yards. Also, only allow him to score the ball one time. This was a not so much of a dominating win by tight work, not like how we liked it, but his defense looked good, getting him the W going into the divisional round. Next, we had King Vitamin and the Los Angeles Rams versus Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles. Wasn't nothing cold about the Philadelphia Eagles offense in this matchup. The LA Rams did not have no answer for this high-power offense. The run game looked strong. The pass game looked strong. This was a very impressive win for the Philadelphia Eagles going into the divisional round. Next, we had Chef Scooper and the Arizona Cardinals facing the Bus and those Chicago Bears. Man, Chef Scooper came out with a solid game plan and was able to stick to that game plan throughout the whole game, man. You know, he went into hostile territory out there in Chicago, playing against a tough crowd, a tough team. Also playing in horrible weather. It was snow throughout the whole game. But he was able, man, to sit there, get over the adversity of all those injuries out there in Arizona and execute a game plan and got the W going into the divisional round. Next, man, we had Eddie, defending Super Bowl champ, versus Tone Dog and those Oakland Raiders. Listen, I'm telling you right now, man, this right here, you know, was a crazy battle. These are two users, man, for the past year, you know, have been playing each other at least 3 times out of the season. And it's just crazy. Each time that these guys have played each other, it has been an electrifying matchup. You know, they gave the people exactly what they came to watch. But in this matchup right here, it was like, what more, you know, can we come up with? What more can, you know, I bring to the table, you know, that he hasn't already seen? And Eddie showed why he's the defending champ. You know, he was able to get out of Oakland with a 14-0 victory over Tone and those Oakland Raiders, moving into the divisional round. That was the recap for the wild card round. So now let's dive into these golden picks. First up, we have the defending Super Bowl champ Eddie and those Los Angeles Chargers versus Expert and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, defense got the job done in last week, you know, causing four interceptions. You know, he's going to have to bring that same mentality this week, facing against Blake Bortles. We know in the past, Blake Bortles have a hard time with taking care of the ball. Has to figure out in this matchup how to take Austin Seferian-Jenkins out of the game and make him a non-factor. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, man, ripped the DML apart all year long. You know, finishing with a solid season of 1,221 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns at the tight end position. Eddie, if you want to come out with the victory going out there in Jacksonville, you're going to have to figure out how to execute those two things. If you do not execute those two things, it's going to be a long, long day. Switching gears. Without that, you know, this is going to be a very interesting game for Expert. You know, Dak is still dealing with that foot fracture injury. You know, so he has to figure out how to have Blake Bortles come out and manage the game on the offensive side of the ball. You know, we know in the past that Blake Bortles, in crucial moments, have a very hard time with taking care and securing the ball. Now, expect a definite workload for Leonard Fournette, you know, just to take that pressure off of Blake Bortles. Reporters spoke to Jalen Ramsey this week, and they asked him, you know, pretty much, how do we feel about Keenan Allen? And Ramsey, being Ramsey, simply said he's overrated, you know. And can you blame him for making that kind of statement? How this Jacksonville defense has been balling out all year long, you know, only allowing 16 points per game and causing a total of 69 turnovers. You know, this is definitely going to be a game that their defense will have to bring it. And keep your eye on that key matchup with Jalen Ramsey versus Keenan Allen. This is going to be a good game right here, I'm telling you. Vegas has expert favorite by 3 points. I think Vegas got this one wrong. You know, if Dak Prescott was there, then I definitely will, you know, be with the Jags 100% on this game. But I don't trust Blake Bortles. I have the LA Chargers getting a W, going into the conference round. Next up, we have Chef Scooper and those Arizona Cardinals versus Sweets 99 and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, good W last week against the Chicago Bears for the Arizona Cardinals, you know. But right now, man, he has to get, you know, his thinking cap right back on. Because he's going up against another top, in my opinion, top 10 user in the DML. And those injuries last week, you know, I mean, those injuries at key positions, man, I think is going to show in this matchup. But a plus this week is he's getting David Johnson's back, you know, and that right there will be able to take some of the pressure off of Geno Smith, which, you know, besides last week, really didn't have any type of playoff experience. So I think him getting David Johnson back will help balance out that offense and allow him to open up, you know, pretty much his offensive playbook and do things that he like to do. Chef Scooper, you have to figure out how to slow down this San Francisco 49ers offense. They're putting up, you know, they finished the season averaging a total of 30 points per game. You're going to have to figure out how to at least cut that in half. You know, you want to try to keep, you know, the San Francisco 49ers offense at least to no more than, I want to say, 20 points. You know, to make this a game to where as though you can be there at the end, you know, potentially contending to take the W. You don't want to get into a shootout with this team. I'm telling you that right now. So you're going to have to figure out how to slow this offense down from putting up points. On the other hand, you know, the San Francisco 49ers, man, is pretty much, you know, coming off of a very, very, very impressive season. You know, this is nothing new for GM/owner Sweets 99. You know, this is never walk in the park. You know, but we have learned that the 49ers, man, they can't seem to, you know, get out of their own way, in my opinion. Because watching them play, you know, last season in the playoffs, they got in their own way. You know, I think it was the lack of, you know, they had a bunch of young talent out there. There was, like, you know, really none of that veteran leadership. But I think this year, man, they got it together. You know, the offense looks good. The defense looks definitely good, you know. But in this matchup, one thing that should definitely stand out is the passing game. It shouldn't have a problem this week at all. They're going up against a secondary who will be without their superstar cornerback, Patrick Peterson. So expect a big game from Marcus Goodwin and also from Dante Pettis. You know, so this should be a solid game. Another thing, Sweets 99, stick to the script. You know, all year, you know, your defense has been causing havoc. Solomon Thomas has been tearing up and been pretty much a threat to any quarterback that was hiking that ball all season long. You're facing Geno Smith this week, who has one game of playoff experience. Stick to the script. Rattle him early. Put him in tough situations and make him turn the ball over. If you can lock down them two things, you know, keep executing how you execute and spreading the ball around the offense side of the ball, I don't see you struggling at all with this W. Vegas has the 49ers favored by 7.5 points. I think Vegas got this one right. I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers getting the W going into the divisional round. I'm at the conference round. Next up, we have tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus Rich 215 on those New York Jets. You know, tight work went 0-2 against this team in the regular season. You know, something that stood out in both of those matchups, you know, turnovers. You know, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins in both of those matchups could not take care of the ball. One game it was 4 interceptions. The next game it was 5. You can't expect your team to win when the player who's touching the ball 100% of the game is turning the ball over. You know, you're going to have to figure out how to take care of the ball in this matchup. You know, now, this is the playoffs, so I don't, expect the same type work that we seen in the regular season in this matchup right here. You know, he seemed to step it up a notch when the playoffs comes around. But you're going to have to figure out how to get back to type work football, running that rock. You know, if you can figure out how to get the run game going early to take some pressure off of your quarterback, I think that at least this offense will be able to open up. You know, so that way he's not forcing anything and he's not making tough decisions. Also, you have to slow down the Jets defense. Don't get into a hole early, because that's another reason that starts to make you make poor decisions. You know, the defense stood up last week, coming off of a lights out performance, only giving up 94 total yards and only allowing 1 score. You're going to have to figure out how to carry that same motivation and momentum heading into New York. And let's switch gears. Verse 215 and those New York Jets. You know, you already got the formula. You know, entering this matchup, you're 2-0 versus this club. You know, you have to remain focused in this matchup, though, because, like I mentioned beforehand, this is the playoffs. Every team, stepped it up a notch, so you cannot expect the same team that you was playing in the regular season to be the same team that you're facing in this matchup. Rookie running back Horton has been shown all year long that he can produce at a high level. In this matchup, in this game, you have to be very focused and come out with that same drive and energy that he has shown throughout the whole season. Defense has been the code of life out there in New York, and this is the time that defense code will be tested. Finishing the regular season, his defense only allowed a total of 11 points per game, 59 rushing yards per game, and came away with 57 sacks and 54 turnovers. It's playoff times, and like everybody know, defense wins championships. And Rich 215 defense will have to ball out in this game for him to get the W heading into the conference round. Vegas has Rich 215 favored by 4 points. I definitely think Vegas got this right. I just don't see the Miami Dolphins right now being able to go toe-to-toe with this Jets team. You know, this Jets team look very hungry, and I think he's going to get the W. Moving on, we got, in my opinion, that's what's going to be one of the most electrifying games. I can't even say it's going to be one of the most electrifying. All these games right here is going to be good. I'm telling you that right now. All these games are going to be good. But in this match, this is going to be a crazy one, man. You got Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles versus 85 and the New Orleans Saints. You know, these two guys played week 2.